remembering road traffic victims, why one group says bike lanes are needed all over San Diego.
Plus, why San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria is meeting with Governor Gavin Newsom in Sacramento today.
A sea of pink in San Diego. We hear from breast cancer survivors participating in the San Diego 3-Day.
Poway was supposed to mean retirement, but the beat goes on for a well-known conductor.
CBS 8 News Live at 6 starts now.
Nearly 300 people were killed in traffic collisions in San Diego County last year. That includes pedestrians and cyclists hit by cars. Tonight, a safety coalition is working together to save lives, and they say enough is enough. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Carla Chiquetto.
I'm Marcella Lee. Families for Safe Streets San Diego and the San Diego Bicycle Coalition are teaming up to make their voices heard and show people the impact of the losses they have experienced. CBS 8's Kirsten Holmes joins us live now with the details. Kirsten.
Hi guys, I want you to take a look behind me and just behold this sight. This is 294 pairs of shoes. These shoes represent the 294 lives lost in traffic crashes, including bicyclists and pedestrians in San Diego County alone last year. Again, 294 lives just last year alone. Organizers, city officials, and supporters gathered here at Civic Plaza tonight to say that number is a 10-year high and that there's something that the city and everyone can do to stop these deaths, or else that number will just get higher.
20 minutes after he left our house, a wrong-way driver crossed into the bike lane and hit Matt head-on, going at least 35 miles per hour.
Matt's widow, Laura Keenan, now uses her pain to advocate for bike lanes after Matt was killed by a wrong-way driver in September of 2021. He leaves behind Laura and their young son.
She never saw him, despite his blindingly bright lights, and he died on the scene. They told me over the phone that he had been hit and killed. And then I went and got my 15-month-old out of his crib and just got through the day somehow. I mean, today I still can't believe this is my reality. You know, it's sometimes it feels like it was forever ago, and other times it feels like it was just yesterday.
Families for Safe Streets San Diego and the San Diego County Bicycle Coalition came together today for World Day of Remembrance for road traffic victims because they say city and county leaders need to do more to protect pedestrians and bicyclists.
We need to have a connected, protected network of bike lanes. We can't just have one-off ones here and there because we're trying to facilitate transportation, and it doesn't do any good if a stretch of road has a protected bike lane, but the next one doesn't. We can build protected bike lanes quickly using inexpensive equipment, and it can happen in a matter of days, and it provides 90+% of the protection of protected concrete barrier ones.
Laura says she understands the pushback when it comes to bike lanes, but it's time to come together to make sure no one else dies a preventable death.
We are not trying to inconvenience them. We are not trying to make their lives harder. We are trying to save lives and protect other people from the pain that we live with for life. These will save lives. I mean, if the road that Matt was on had a protected bike lane, he would have been alive today. I am full.
You're getting a live look right now. They just wrapped up their remembrance of the 294 lives lost here in San Diego County. We heard from city leaders who say they're committed to making sure no more lives are lost that are preventable deaths. Now, the group is looking for a couple of things. First, they want an updated bike master plan by 2023. They also want double funding for the protected bike lanes you may have seen across the city of San Diego, and they want lower speed limits. These are all measures that they say will help stop those preventable deaths. Reporting live, Kirsten Holmes for CBS 8. Back to you.
Thanks, Kirsten. We haven't seen the last of the Santa Anas. They are expected to kick up again and soon.
Chief Meteorologist Carlene Chaffetz joins us early tonight. You've been tracking these winds. What's going to happen this weekend?
Well, this weekend's going to be gusty, and it's going to be same areas as before, but this is going to be a little bit different. It's not expected to be as strong and as intense as the last round. Good to hear, but we still can't let our guard down. Yeah. That's just something to be mindful of in the forecast. So yes, we are definitely talking about a weaker Santa Ana wind event compared to the last one we had, but as mentioned, we still need to have our guard up. North of us, Riverside, Orange County, also San Bernardino County, red flag warnings have been issued. That's because they're expecting much stronger winds. For us, just a wind advisory, but still be mindful. We will have those gusts up to about 40 to 55 miles per hour, strongest along the foothills. If you have any objects that are not secure that are outdoors, go ahead and bring them in. Potential even for some downed trees and power lines with those stronger gusts picking up. So setting the clock in motion, you can see that fire weather risk starts to elevate even more by tomorrow afternoon. That's when we're expecting the peak of those gusts. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the forecast models, and I'll let you know just how strong coming up. Carlo, Marcella.
Thanks, Carlene. A mentally ill graduate student will stand trial for the attempted murder of a California Highway Patrol officer.
The officer was shot in the leg with his own gun during a struggle with the student along the road. As CBS 8's David Goffredson reports, that officer took the stand today during a preliminary hearing.
Not guilty and not guilty by reason of insanity.
Ever since his initial arraignment, attorneys for Yu-Hao Du have been claiming the UCSD graduate student was insane at the time of the crime and therefore not guilty of trying to kill a CHP officer. Cell phone video captured the aftermath of the shooting on April 27th on the side of Interstate 8 in Mission Valley. Today in court, Officer Tony Pacheco testified the incident began shortly after he arrived to the scene of a traffic accident where the 25-year-old was standing in the middle of the highway.
He had a blank stare on his face, 1,000-yard stare. It appeared as if he was staring right through me.
The officer first thought Du may have been intoxicated, but he soon realized he was suicidal.
I get closer, and I hear him say, "I want to kill myself." I responded with, "What?" And then he said, "Can you kill me?"
Pacheco said when he reached for his radio, Du grabbed for his gun with both hands.
It was a fight for my life. I was convinced he was going to use that gun on me.
The officer then punched Du 4 times as the two wrestled for the weapon still in its holster.
I heard a loud pop. My ears were ringing. I felt this extreme pain go down my leg and warm liquid running down my leg. It was my blood.
Good Samaritans driving by saw the struggle and pulled over to help, pinning down Du, helping the officer to stop the bleeding from his leg. During today's hearing, defense attorneys cross-examined a CHP investigator.
The defendant eventually told you that he had been diagnosed as being schizophrenic.
Correct.
Previously in his lifetime.
Yes.
They said Du had been committed to a mental hospital multiple times in the weeks leading up to the shooting.
During the interview, the defendant said that he was hearing voices in his head, correct?
Correct.
And the voices were commanding him to do things.
Yes.
In the end, the judge ruled Du will stand trial. He faces 40 years to life in prison if convicted on all counts. The defendant will be back in court again on December 6th, where he is once again expected to enter a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity. At the downtown courthouse, David Goffredson, CBS 8.
Thanks, David. A special counsel will oversee the Justice Department's investigation into former President Donald Trump. U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland says appointing Jack Smith to investigations involving the January 6th insurrection and Mr. Trump's handling of classified documents at Mar-a-Lago is the right thing to do.
As special counsel, he will exercise independent prosecutorial judgment to decide whether charges should be brought.
Garland says the former president's announcement for a 2024 White House campaign and a likely re-election bid by President Biden factored into his decision to appoint a special counsel. A spokesperson for Mr. Trump is calling it a, quote, political stunt.
U.S. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg was in San Diego today. He was at the border touring the Otay Mesa East project. It's a new port of entry under construction that is expected to have at least 10 lanes to help reduce wait times to cross. The secretary says a lot of work is being done to make sure things run smoothly, but he says there are still many challenges ahead.
I'd be lying if I said we're out of the woods. We still see staffing shortfalls. We still see a system that if it faces a big disruption like a major weather event impacting one of the hubs, that can still create issues that will cascade through the system.
The project is expected to be finished in 2024.
San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria met with Governor Gavin Newsom in Sacramento today to talk about the money he's withholding from San Diego to help fight the homelessness crisis.
The mayor says he is committed to hitting new, clearly defined goals when it comes to dealing with the epidemic. Our political reporter Morgan Reiner is live with details on today's meeting. Morgan.
The governor said it went beyond well, that many of the cities did agree to include what the governor's team considers best practices moving forward. Although some local leaders disagree on whether withholding the funds was the best way to get to this agreement.
Governor Gavin Newsom had an agenda walking into Friday afternoon's meeting. Get all 75 applicants he's withholding money from to agree to what his team believes will help better solve the homeless crisis.
I'm pleased that everybody was sincere in their not only desire to be here today and present, but to commit to a higher ambition.
Some of the best practices include utilizing available land for supportive housing. He said about a quarter have agreed so far.
I'm grateful that over, I think we're 24 or so folks have signed up to commit formally.
The decisions are due in 2 weeks. Sacramento Mayor Darrell Steinberg is on board.
I think we're all on the same page. He wants to see more aggressive numbers, and we're going to provide that.
He understands why the governor made the decision to withhold the $1 billion.
I want to defend the governor here. Part of the job of a chief executive is to provoke disruption.
San Diego Mayor Todd Gloria told me they could have had this meeting without withholding funds.
To the extent that this caught many of us by surprise, that really can't be the way things operate going forward.
He had to run to the airport right after this meeting, but told me before it started that he wants something from the governor in return.
Hear the governor loud and clear. He wants higher targets for reductions. I'm game to do that. In reverse, we have an expectation that the state make these funds permanent and ongoing.
So I brought that to the governor.
We've committed unprecedented resources every single year. So they know my commitment and my resolve. I'm not looking to turn my back in the second term on the cities and counties. Now, finding new dedicated money as we enter into what could be a recession with the headwinds, one has to be sober about that.
The 75 applicants have until the 29th to formally agree to the governor's best practices. If they agreed before that, they could see the money start flowing as soon as this Monday. Now, in a very common move of his, the governor brought national politics into this, telling reporters after the meeting that the meeting that took place upstairs was nothing like what a cabinet meeting would have been with Donald Trump, where everyone's talking about how good of a job they did. Instead, he said that the mayors and city leaders here did a great job talking about their own failures and how they could do better.
Morgan Reiner from Sacramento. Thanks, Morgan. Still ahead tonight, more turmoil at Twitter. Why the company's headquarters is all locked up.
Plus, Poway is getting ready to host a world-famous pianist, and you can still get tickets tonight.
But first, it's a river of pink flowing from Del Mar to downtown this weekend. Walkers in the Susan G. Komen 3-day wrap up the first 20 miles of a 60-mile journey.